Hello there. How are you tonight, Devin?
I'm good.
All right. Well, there are a lot of things to cover, folks. I guess the first question would be, how many lies did Donald Trump tell today? Was it one? Was it two? Was it three? Was it four?
Based on his early morning ranting,
Uh,
quite a
let's
few.
let's start with, first of all, the Hanoi summit. It was a bust. For a guy that knows the art of the deal, he's got a new title now called The Art of the Bust. Okay, he can't make deals. He doesn't know how to make a deal. He wasn't prepared. He was more concerned with what Cohn had to say about him than his meeting with Kim Jong. And so Kim Jong is going to play this to the hilt. And then Donald doubles down on it and says Kim Jong told him he knew nothing about Otto's death, knew nothing about it. And he believes him. Well, that's the same thing he said with Saudi Arabia on that American-based journalist. I didn't know anything about, they didn't know anything about it, and I believe him. And when Putin said that he didn't hack the emails, I believe him.
There's a pattern of sort of Trump taking these despicable, mostly men's word for it. I mean, like you're saying, it's the Saudi prince, Putin, Kim Jong-un, but also, if you remember, Roy Moore down in Alabama, he says he didn't do it. I believe him. Brett Kavanaugh for the Supreme Court, he says he didn't do it. I believe him. You know, it's always this sort of pattern of accepting and taking these people at sort of face value of what they're saying.
Because he thinks that somehow by taking their word, he's going to look better. Because what if he were to say that Kavanaugh probably did these things? Then it would have reflected badly on his judgment. And Donald couldn't stand that. So he leaves himself.
Also, something that's very telling to me is while he is with these people, like, for example, Kim Jong-un just recently with this little summit for nothing they had, is he's gushy and so weak looking while there. You know, he's not firm. He doesn't stand up for America. And then he flies home or he gives a press conference after. And then suddenly he's so tough. And, you know, he's on Twitter early this morning. You know, of course I hold North Korea, you know, responsible for his death and blah, 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 blah. It's like doing these things after the fact don't count.
Well, you know, you're right. But it's like there's nothing Kim Jong can do to me now. What if he had said that Kim Jong, okay, was a terrorist dictator who was totally responsible for the death of this kid? And Kim Jong said, oh, guess what, Mr. President? You just spoke against the state. We're charging you with treason. We're not going to let you go back to the United States. Have a nice day. Take them away, folks. So Donald just tells him what he wants to hear. Kim Jong is treating him like a puppet. And wasn't it during the campaign, one of Donald's favorite expressions was that Hillary Clinton would be a puppet of Russia? No, I think he was talking about himself. He's the puppet. He's the one who simply, you know, is controlled by everybody else but himself. He has no backbone.
Have you been following this CPAC thing at all a little bit?
No. What about that?
It's like the conservative, you know, brain trust get together that they hold every year. Maybe they hold multiple times a year.
Okay, tell me about it.
Essentially, all the big name conservatives come out and give like, you know, little or what, you know, like keynotes and stuff like that.
Okay.
And you know, on stage this morning, or well, not this morning, let me correct myself. A few days ago, a speaker, I don't know who it was, essentially came on stage and said, and it's just amazing, this is an actual quote, that President Trump is smarter, more decisive, and more compassionate than Jesus Christ himself. And the crowd just ate it up. They roared, they cheered, you know.
Well, you know, Donald Trump said he never asked for forgiveness because he's never done anything to need to ask for forgiveness. When he was asked about communion, he said, quote, "I eat the cracker and sip the wine." Now, as many,
Maybe he's the second coming, Bill.
yeah, maybe he's the devil incarnate. Okay, the point I'm trying to understand is, as long as I've been alive, which is longer than Donald, I've never heard of communion, regardless of whether it was Catholic, Protestant, you know, whatever denomination, ever referred to communion as a cracker. Okay, I eat the cracker and sip the wine. And he said that during the campaign. And that didn't bother his base. Now his son says he's better than Jesus Christ. Hi, how are you, OTC? Well, we came on a few minutes early because there's so much garbage to talk about tonight. We just couldn't hold it back. It was like having a bowel movement. You just couldn't wait.
Speaking of his base, recent polls show Trump's approval rating slipping in the Midwest. Only 40% of Midwesterners voters are now saying that they approve of the president. Polls are also showing rising disapproval of Trump among Midwest states, with 53% saying they disapproved of Trump in July and 60% now saying they disapprove of Trump in February.
Well, again, it comes back down to the same thing. People are getting smart. They're saying, wait a minute, this is a pathological liar. This is someone who just makes stuff up and then denies it. And yet what he denies doesn't make any sense. Well, here's why. Example, he has the right as president of the United States to authorize a security clearance for anybody he wants, whether his superiors, those his underlings agree or disagree, doesn't matter. He has that power as president of the United States to authorize that. Why didn't he just do it? Instead of saying, I had nothing to do with this. I knew nothing about it. And then have his daughter come on and lie too. Now we're finding out that Kelly wrote a memo. The other guy writes memos. Other people knew that Kirshner wasn't qualified. 4 times he filled out the security clearance form because he didn't fill it out right. I mean, how many times do you fill out a form? Doesn't he have anybody around it that knows how to fill these forms out that are career people? I mean,
also, just to clarify though, is they weren't just denying him this because he wasn't filling the forms out correctly. They were denying it, and we don't know the reason. They were denying it because something on those forms flagged him enough where there were serious concerns by intelligence officials that they didn't think he deserved it.
Yeah, I would agree.
And we don't because, you know, the House committee, some of the House committees are trying to get a hold of the documents and papers and stuff in regards to this. And they continue to be stonewalled. You know, Representative Cummings just said, you know, the last couple of days that it's looking more and more likely that they're going to have to subpoena to get a hold of those documents.
Right. I mean, the thing that I find is that he had the power to say, no, I want him to have a security clearance. I'm the president. Now, I may be right or I may be wrong, but it's my right. It wasn't that he did anything illegal. The illegalness is when you deny that you knew anything about it and you had nothing to do with it, and your children lie about it, and then it comes out that you knew about it and you overrode these people. There's the lie, not the act itself. The same thing that caught Richard Nixon. If he had said, yeah, okay, so I told Haldeman and Ehrlichman, if you're going to go over there and investigate, don't get caught. People would have said, hey, you gambled, Mr. President, and you lost. But the problem was that he kept saying he knew nothing about it. He didn't know what Haldeman and Ehrlichman had been doing. He knew nothing about the Republican campaign. He knew nothing about anything. And the more he kept insisting he didn't know anything, and the more the facts came out that he did, the more the case built against him. And Donald is just as stupid as Nixon was. These people are so stupid. Instead of admitting something, when you know you're on solid legal ground. Okay. I mean, that's the ironic part. He knows it, he denies it, and then tries to cover it up when there was no reason to deny it in the beginning, outside of saying, I'm the president. I have this power. I can do this. And I've done it.
Well, I don't think that would have saved him, Bill. I'm not quite sure how that would have panned out. Had he been forthcoming from the start?
What would have happened?
Richard Nixon?
No.
Had he said, yeah, I told them to go do it.
No.
I knew about it.
If Richard Nixon had said, look, I don't think it's a great idea, guys, but just don't get caught. I don't think it would have been that big an issue. Okay, the issue became his desire to say he knew nothing about
but wouldn't he have been a co-conspirator?
Well, sure, because he kept denying
he knew of the crime and didn't do anything about it.
Right. He authorized a crime to be committed. He authorized them to break in. Instead of them saying to him, hey, look, what would happen if we went into the Democratic, headquarters and looked around? And he goes, don't get caught. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm not telling you not to do it. Just don't get caught. I mean, if somebody came to me, a friend of me came to me and said, hey, I want to smoke some crack. And I say, well, it's your liability. Okay. Just don't smoke it in my house. Okay. You want to smoke it in your car. You want to smoke it in your house. You want to smoke it out in the woods. I don't care. It's none of my business. Don't smoke in my house. That's far different than saying, oh yeah, come on over, light it up, enjoy yourself. And then turn around and say, I didn't know he was doing it. I didn't know that was what he was smoking. There's a difference between the two.
There is because OTC brought it up about Pence pardoning him. There's some, what is the word? I guess talk through the grapevine, going through like the Trump sources, saying that one of the big reasons for him wanting to run again, this being Trump in 2020, is the belief that if he wins re-election, that'll be another 4 years on top of what he has left, and the statute of limitations on any of these type of crimes will have run out. Because Pence could only pardon him in regards to federal crimes.
Yeah, but that's
obviously,
why,
as we've talked about before.
If
there's any type of what?
But that's why the Southern District of New York is doing their investigation, because
yes, that's what I'm saying. That there's in his belief that if he's president for the whole 8 years, that regardless of what crimes are committed, that all statute of limitations would have run out.
Well,
obviously, if he loses re-election, things would change.
Do you think he's going to keep Pence as his vice president?
Yes.
Why?
I don't think there's any reason to get rid of him. He's not. He doesn't drag the. He doesn't drag the ticket down in any way. And I mean, he basically plays into everything that Trump wants anyway.
That's true. That's true. And he's like, as somebody once said, as Dan once told me, he said he's like Donald Trump's insurance policy for America. In other words, you get rid of me and you think it's bad with me. Look at Trump, look at Pence. Okay, and see how far off he'd go. Okay. I think Biden needs to get in, but I just don't know where Biden is. What's the big decision? You've already got the family saying, go ahead. You know, why are you playing this game? Okay, either get in the race or get out of it. Okay. I mean, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You may be right, OTC. I don't know at this point. Age is going to be.
No, I disagree with that. I really do, OTC. I think that's, especially, I don't know if you saw the recent comment that he got a lot of backlash for. And yes, it was in the context of, sort of foreign affairs and like military stuff. But essentially, he said that our current vice president, meaning Mike Pence, is a decent person in regards to that. And, a lot of people called him out because, Mike Pence is one of the most anti-LGBT people we've ever elected, especially at that level. He's routinely has said things in the past that are very hateful.
Yeah.
So it's, I think Biden will run, and I think he'll do well, but I don't think he's the only one that can win.
Think a woman could win? Open question to anybody.
I would like to say yes. I feel like we're seeing a lot of the same complaints against Hillary, different because they're not specifically like emails and stuff like that, but a lot of the same type of, complaints that were used against her, used against some of the women who have already declared. That said, I think and I hope that within the next year or two, Trump will continue to be more and more unpopular and alienate people that would have voted for him, that all the Democrats need to do is essentially elect somebody who doesn't have a lot of baggage and doesn't have like one defining negative characteristic that they could continue to attack. Outside of that, yeah, I think a woman or a man or whatever could win.
Well, here's another interesting thing. Donald Trump, when he puts financial statements together, when he was first running for president, he had to fill out a federal form. Now, granted, the federal form was never designed for somebody like Bloomberg, a legitimate billionaire, or Howard, former CEO.
Howard Hughes. No, Howard Schultz.
Yeah, Schultz. Anybody that's a billionaire, legitimate, okay? Because the parameters are so wide. Well, he rated his golf courses at $50 million or more. Okay, that's what he said they were worth on his report. But when he filed his tax to get reductions in state income tax on his property, real estate tax, he claimed they were only worth $5 million. Suddenly they went from 50 million to 5 million. I mean, Somebody's lying, and it's coming from the same mouth. So either 50 billion is true or 5 billion. They can't both be true. And when Cohen said that he was a liar, a con man, and a cheat, he was telling the truth. See, Donald doesn't like it when truth comes out. He can't bear the truth. He's like an evil person. He's like a vampire. He can't bear the light. He can't bear being exposed to light. He must have darkness at all times. Donald thinks that's part of his mystique. That's part of the thing that makes him cool, that makes him so loving, so mysterious, so inviting, so trustworthy. Of course, he doesn't understand what darkness means. And it's just a sad thing. And here's the thing that bothers me. As you know, and I've mentioned it before, I'm religious. And there's an old saying that at the time of death, God looks into your heart. That's where he sees forgiveness or not forgiveness. That's where the decision is made. Okay? I just fear that God's going to see just a tiny glimmer of redemption in Donald, just a sliver, and suddenly say, okay, you're qualified. And he's going to be up at the pearly gates. Okay, and he's going to try and organize that. I don't know. I mean, I can't see a man who has been so lying and deceitful and taken us down a very bad road having redemptive value. I don't know where it is. I don't see it in him. I didn't see redemptive value in Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin. I didn't see it in any of them. I don't see it in Putin. I don't see it in Kim Jong. Why should I see it in Donald? Donald has repeatedly proven that he has no heart, he has no soul, he doesn't understand that you can't continue to lie to everybody repeatedly, day in and day out, and then ask people, believe me, trust me, I'm an honorable person. Okay?
I see OTC brought up Bloomberg.
Yeah.
I don't think Bloomberg's going to run. But Bloomberg is doing something that I think has a lot of potential for the Democratic Party. He is spending boatloads of money, of his own money, and I mean a lot of money, to almost, I think, every state, gather as much data on voters and sort of the areas and, pretty much anything that they could get their hands on to make profiles. And he said, from what I've read, that he would be more than willing, obviously it would depend on who won the nomination, but more than willing to hand that over to the respected nominee of the party. Plus, don't forget, he spent millions and millions of dollars this last election. And a lot of his money helped in a lot of good areas. So I kind of hope he stays on the sidelines and is doing things like that. Buying data and getting data and putting money into races that are close and competitive. I think that's where he belongs.
All right, let's go over some other things. Earlier today, Devin was very busy putting notes together for me. He's fantastic at doing that, folks, and you ought to thank him because he spends a lot of time trolling in a good way and finding out things. Okay, let's go through some of these. More than 1,000 TSA employees still owed back pay from the federal government shutdown. the Trump administration hasn't done anything to expedite their back pay. Nielsen rating service estimates that 16 million people tuned in live to watch the Michael Cohen testimony Wednesday. Washington State Governor Jay Inslee has entered the race to be the Democratic nominee for president. I don't really know anything about him, so I can't judge anything at this particular point.
His main focus, I mean, for years, and I'm saying years, even before Al Gore got involved, has been climate change. That's not to say he's a one-issue candidate, but that seems to be his main focus. So that's I counted earlier, and that's about 14 different candidates have declared for the race so far. And like I said, a couple big names such as Joe Biden, but Beto O'Rourke are still rumored to join over the next couple of weeks, but we'll have to see.
All right, Fox News host Sean Hannity, who is constantly, is Donald Trump's spokesperson, his alter
favorite journalist.
Yeah, well, he's the alternate speaker of what's her name? Sarah B.
Sarah Huckabee.
Yeah, Sarah Huckabee. He's the male version of her. Should be subpoenaed over Cohen's information that was revealed during the Trump interview, says ex-federal prosecutor. Polls show Trump approval rating slipping in the Midwest. You already pointed that with 40%.
Yeah, I got that one.
Okay, let's go through some more.
Yeah, Trump Jr. was at CPAC and was talking about the Mueller report and says that don't redact anything. He seems pretty confident that that contains no bad information.
Well, I'd hate to go with his judgment on anything. House Democrats preparing case to request Trump's tax returns. Now, guess who ultimately makes that decision? The Treasurer of the United States, who definitely loves Donald, but they can't subpoena them. And if they would,
I don't know, Bill.
Well, yeah, he would have
the Ways and Means Committee. Okay, it says the top tax writing committee in the House is readying a request for years of President Donald Trump's personal tax returns that is expected to land at the Internal Revenue Service as early as the next few weeks, according to congressional aides involved in the process. And Democrats are prepared to, quote, take all necessary steps, including litigation, in order to obtain them. Ways and Means Committee Chairman Richard Neal of Massachusetts has asked the committee's attorneys to prepare the request, according to two aides involved in the process. Neal has also contacted the chairs of several other House investigation committees, including Oversight and Government Reform, Financial Services, Intelligence, and Judiciary, asking them to provide detailed arguments for why they need the president's tax returns to conduct their probes. The Ways and Means Committee has a sort of unique ability in that they are allowed to subpoena tax returns from an American citizen.
Right.
It is in their purview to do that. However, I don't think, like you're saying, it's ever been tested as far as a sitting president is concerned.
Right.
But I don't see anything stopping them. I mean, obviously he's going to put up a big fight, but I don't see anything stopping them.
Right. All right. Then we have the cover up.
So,
we have the cover up on Kirshner's security clearance.
Yeah, we got that one.
Mueller says he will take 5 to 8 days to prove case against Stone. Federal prosecutors anticipate the trial of Roger Stone will take just 5 to 8 days to complete. Special counsel Robert Mueller's team says that there is how long they expect to take to present their case and question witnesses in the case against Stone for obstruction of justice, lying to Congress, and intimidating witnesses. Warren vows no pardon for those caught in Trump scandals. Well, the point of the matter is that she'd have to win the presidency.
Well, that's what she's talking about. I mean, she says, let me be perfectly clear in the way that everyone who might be president next should be. If I'm elected president of the United States, there will be no pardons for anyone implicated in these investigations. Everyone who might succeed Donald Trump as president should adopt the same policy.
Correct. I agree with that. I mean, the whole point of this is that when you commit crimes and then turn around and say, oh, well, the president's going to pardon me, you're basically playing Monopoly. Okay, here's the card. Go to go. Okay, collect $400. It's a free pass. Or here's a free pass out of jail. That's not justice in the United States. That's corruption. And that's exactly what this whole administration has been, is one revolving door of corruption. Trump for questioning, well, I don't think they're going to be able to do that. There was a case, famous case, way back in the last century with Jimmy Mitchell.
Oh, they're going to do that, Bill.
No, the House needs to bring in
Trump Jr.
Oh, Trump Jr. Okay, Trump Jr.
Yeah.
But in the Billy Mitchell trial, he was a general, and Billy Mitchell was in the Army. And he said that our real enemy was Japan, and that someday the United States would be attacked by Japan through the air. Now, we didn't have an Air Force at the time, per se. They were part of the Army. They were called the Army Air Corps. And at his trial, at his court-martial, he subpoenaed the President of the United States. And the President of the United States delicately declined to appear, okay, because he was the commander-in-chief, okay? Eventually, he was court-martialed, went down in rank, but retired from the military. And later on, December 7th, 1941, that's exactly how the United States was attacked, by air. And Billy Mitchell was right. And it's ironic how we sometimes don't listen to people that are giving us warnings because we don't like the message. It's sad because sometimes the message is dangerous. And Billy Mitchell was right. But that's the only time I can recall where the president has been subpoenaed and declined to appear. Now, do you honestly think that Donald Jr. would lie under oath to Congress? Or do you think he would tell the truth?
Well, I mean, supposedly he already has lied, but yeah, but he says yes, lie.
Very well. What's he going to do? Say, hey, my father lied. I'm telling the truth. I don't lie. Okay? Point of the matter is, father like son. Okay? And I think in all honesty that Eric is too, well, he doesn't have the political sabe. Oh, by the way, have you noticed how Trump Jr. has grown a beard? I guess that's to make him look more mature.
More rugged.
Yeah.
More outdoorsy.
You know, I'm a leader. Okay. You know, it's like, yeah, get a razor. Okay. Learn to shave. But anyhow, we've covered a lot of stuff tonight. Again, more is going to come out. Trust me. The Hanoi thing. Well, let's talk about that. Was the president right in leaving for the right reason, or was he leaving because he was like a kid who couldn't have his toy that he wanted, and therefore he said, I'm leaving? What do you people think?
I think on face value, there is value in getting up from the table per se and walking away. I think there are very specific things we need from North Korea before we make any type of deal. I think backtracking or backing away from full denuclearization, backing away from not only being able to verify that with independent, committees and stuff to go in there and to, inspect the country, but it bothers me that the reports, it's like we put this thing on in such a hurry and we walked away with nothing. And, North Korea gave a sort of a press conference a little bit after Donald did, essentially saying that, America wanted too much, so that they chose to walk away, that they were willing to give up some things, but not all things. And I honestly think, and I've said this from the beginning, I don't think Kim Jong-un is serious in his desire to give up the weapons. And why would he? He's got the support from China. He's got the support from Russia. He has now met with the sitting president twice now. He's gotten lots of photos and his people love him because look at him. He's on the world stage. He's interacting with world leaders. They've got the weapons. There's no reason to give them up now. What they've wanted is what they're getting because Trump's an idiot.
Well, here's the other problem. You would think that the Trump administration would have spent a great deal of time and effort to lay out a plan and to have their ducks in order. They didn't. It was like, well, yeah, we're going to go to this meeting. I'm going to tell him to denuclearize. He's going to promise me yes. We're going to sign some kind of a paper agreement that will have no weight on it. I'll walk away smiling as president of the United States. He'll walk away smiling, saying that he's got some concessions and everything else like that. I used to do a ploy like that when I was in sales. We'd get to an impasse. And then I would say, excuse me, where's your bathroom? And I would get up and I would go to the bathroom, if nothing more than to wash my hands and my face. And I'd wait about 3 or 4 minutes, and then I'd come back. And I'd start with a new subject. In other words, I just completely changed the whole subject matter to something else and then work my way back. So getting up and walking away and then coming back is a great strategy. And Donald talks about it in The Art of the Deal. Leaving them hanging and then coming back. Take it away from them. And then bring it back. But he doesn't know how to do it because he never wrote the book, The Art of the Deal. A guy more clever than he is actually wrote the book. Donald just threw in and said, oh, that sounds good. Yeah, say that. I like that. That sounds intelligent. And that's precisely what this author did.
It's so shocking to me that the man who lost money running a casino at the height of casinos, who has bankrupted more brands and more companies than any other major, company CEO in the last 30, 40 years, is finding it difficult to make deals, not only here in Washington, with Democrats and Republicans, his own party, but abroad. He has spent his entire presidency so far killing deals, from, essentially almost killing NAFTA, killing the Paris Accords, killing the Iran nuclear deal, etc. That, what exactly is he accomplishing?
The only thing you can say is I put a tax plan together that benefited the wealthy, but convinced the middle class that they were getting something, which they weren't. Two, the stock market has been soaring. Therefore, the economy has been going great. I've accomplished these two objectives. And there are people out there who are business people that have a lot of money and a lot of their programs invested in the market. So when they see the market going up, they turn around and say, he's doing a great job. But it's like somebody saying, hey, now that's a great house you're building. And then a guy with intelligence comes by and says, but Mr. Trump, you're building it on quicksand. You're not building it on a solid foundation. You're building it on quicksand. And it's not going to survive. And Donald's going, I don't care. It looks beautiful right now. Let's keep going. That's what you have. I'll give you a prime example, and this is a true story. When I was at Bowling Green State University, they decided to build a new library. And they were basically told that the ground that they wanted to build it on was very marshy. They didn't say it was quicksand, but they said it was very soft and would not support a 10-story building straight up. It would otherwise have to be built on a platform. In other words, you build a plaza around it to support the weight and then put the building in the center of it. Well, the city or the university didn't quite listen. So they laid the foundation, this big platform, okay? And then over the Easter break, they came back and the platform disappeared. It had sunk into the ground. And it was like, my God, what happened? Because the geologists had told them, their own geologist in the geology department of the university had told them that this would sink. So they ended up building another platform on top of the other one. Unfortunately, the two platforms had the supporting weight and they eventually built the tower. But that's the problem you have when you don't listen or don't want to listen to the experts who are not trying to dismantle your project. They're just trying to tell you that it's not going to work that way. It's just not going to work.
I did see where, because via Twitter, he's now asking China to remove the tariffs on all the agricultural stuff, that comes from our country. And because he didn't let the tariffs that were going to go into effect on March 1st to go into effect. I just can't wait to see this great deal that he's putting together with China.
Yeah.
As we continue to lose millions upon millions of dollars from our farms and our crops.
But don't worry. He's taking care of the farmers.
Of course,
because he's
using
the US
tax
Treasury,
money to give them a bailout of $7-8 billion.
Right, adding to the US debt to make up for a mistake he made because he doesn't know how, he doesn't think it through. I mean, it's like me saying, okay, you now may reinstitute my old account. Oh, let me run over there to you now. No, I'm comfortable over here. We may make a gradual entry over there and see how it goes, maybe 1 or 2 broadcasts a week, but we're not going to jump ship out of here simply because they're saying, well, we're going to give you your old account back. Okay. But Donald would say, oh yeah, you see, they promised me my old account. So ditch YouTube and let's go to you now because I had a lot more followers on there. And then wonder why, when he switches, nobody remembers him. Okay. As you said, I may go back to you now a couple of times a week, and it's like
nobody there.
There's nobody that remembers me. It's like, who the hell are you? But that's the way Donald is. He doesn't think to point B. It's just point A. It's impulse. And you can't live a life based on impulse. But when you live a life in which you're accountable to no one, then you can live on impulse because there's nobody to answer to. If he suddenly woke up one morning and said, I like blue, so all of my employees, male employees, will wear blue ties while working at Trump International, whether they like blue or not. Everybody wore blue. He can get away with it. Oh, you can file a lawsuit and say, hey, you don't have any right to declare a dress code. Yes, he does. He owns the company. But if he had stockholders and he was, a minority, and they said, no, Mr. President, or Mr. Trump, that's not a good idea. They should have the right to choose whatever color tie they want to wear. But Donald's never had that. And he took that idea to the presidency. And he thinks of the presidency as an absolute power to do whatever he wants and say whatever he wants. Whether it's true or not, doesn't matter. And that's what's worrisome. That's what's destroying our country. See, a country's not destroyed in 24 hours unless through war. But it can be destroyed in a year, 2 years, 3 years, when all of your friends, all your allies are saying, we can't trust you. We won't communicate with you. We won't give you our opinion because you're not going to listen to it anyhow. Because you're an idiot. And he goes, I don't care. I don't need you anyhow. I'll do what I want to do because I'm president of the United States. That's the height of arrogance. That's a dictator who's called president of the United States. Well, anything else we want to discuss?
No, I mean, we covered quite a bit.
OTC, any last thoughts?
Let's see here.
I found out why OTC comes on the channel. He's got to have his day of humor. He's got to have a chance to laugh. And this is his laugh channel. This is his comedy channel. When we talk about all these stupid things, he starts laughing out loud. Okay?
Gotta have some comedy here.
I got to tell you a funny story. At the first time I'd ever heard LOL, I thought it meant lots of love. Okay? Not laughing out loud. So Fred sent me an email about something. And I wrote back, I think it was an illness in the family or something. Somebody had become ill or somebody had died. I'm not sure what. And then at the very end, I said, LOL, meaning lots of love. I thought that's what I said. He texts me back right away and he goes, why are you insulting me? And that's I went back and I said, what do you mean I'm insulting you? It means lots of love. He says, no, it means laughing out loud. I said, oh, I didn't know that. So that's a sad way to learn what LOL means. But here's the secret. The secret was to apologize immediately for my mistake. Instead of arguing with him and saying, that's what it means. That's what I was told. And saying, no, I was wrong. and I apologize. There's the difference. But I can remember.
Now you learned.
I can remember one other time. I have a large collection of black pants and gray pants. Okay. And so whenever I would go out and they would always see me, I would either be wearing black or gray. So this one evening we were going somewhere and Fred said, we're stopping off at Walmart. And I said, okay, I figured he needed to get a couple of things. So we go into the clothing department and he says, what's your size? And I told him, and he goes, okay, here's a white pair of pants. Here's another color, whatever. And I said, what are you talking about? He says, Bill, you've only got 2 pairs of pants, black pants and gray pants. And I said, what do you mean? I said, I've got 6 pairs of black pants and 6 pairs of gray pants. I didn't know that. I said, yes. And I don't always remember what color I wore the last time I saw you. And so he had a good intention, to help my wardrobe, but not realize that I was only wearing them because I had so many of them. I mean, it was just
kind of diversify your colors.
Well, yes, but I got a good deal on them. Now the problem I'm having, seriously, is that my clothing is getting too big for me. I mean, literally. I mean, because I'm down to 236 now.
Wow.
From 291 on November 1 of last year.
It's really good.
It is good. It is good. You notice my face? It's much thinner now. I don't have a big, But anyhow, all right. I think we're just about done. We'll be on Monday, I'm sure. And I'm sure that over the week,
if there's any breaking news, of course.
Well, we might come on earlier if there was any breaking news, like, Donald Trump's Air Force One Marine helicopter one crashed, and he was severely injured, and Pence was now acting president. That might be newsworthy. But I don't think anything tragic like that would ever happen. They take good care of our equipment. That's one thing you can say about our Air Force. They do take care of our equipment and everything else like that. But until Monday, I thank you, OTC, as always. I thank you, Dev, as always. I thank everybody else that will be watching the show in the week to come. Thank you for watching. Hope you learned
Maybe
something.
if you hear back from maybe we'll come on this weekend.
We could do that. My thought actually might be Tuesday and Thursday as a testing zone.
No, that could work too. We'll see. I mean,
I don't know.
Gotta hear back from them first, I guess.
Yeah, well, if they open it up, I could come back Saturday, just for the hell of it, just for the he of it, just to see, and everything else like that. But listen, everybody, thank you for everything. You have a good night, and I give you peace as always, and you take care. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.